Hello, folks. I'm back. All right. So, when last I streamed, I had a horrible bug that I was convinced was an engine bug. Um, and like all engine bugs, or 90% of engine bugs, turned out to be something stupid I was doing. Um, I found it after about 5 minutes. I had a leftover line in the script that loads the level contents for the main menu that was loading the main menu from before I changed it over. Um, so I added a few minutes for that fix, but then decided not to stream more. Uh, so I lost a bit of time on bug hunting, probably like 25 minutes total on that one stupid bug, which is a pain. But got 9 hours to go. Swap the clock over to a countdown instead of a count up. And I'm gonna keep cranking on this thing. I'm mostly working on kind of the game structure, transitioning between levels. I'm gonna add like a fade to black between the level transitions, just to make it look a little smoother. I'm gonna think about a game title. If anybody has suggestions, hit me up in chat. And I'm going to move from that on to the gameplay levels. Try to get some semblance of a progression of maybe 2 or 3 different levels that get harder and add some elements in. So thinking maybe the first level is like get from point A to point B through an asteroid field, just navigating. Second level will be like fighting your way through enemies, and then third level will be fighting your way through enemies and a boss or something like that. The big design question I keep chewing on in my head and haven't come up with a good solution to yet is kind of how to put boundaries on the levels. I could put physical boundaries on the levels somehow by having you be like inside of a structure. But that would require creating a big environment. I could put kind of a soft boundary where if you go too far out, it starts to push you back, and then if you go too far out, it starts to damage you. But I need a good way to visually represent kind of how that looks, or where that boundary is, and communicate that to the player without it getting too complicated. A third way is to just have no boundaries on the levels and have everything kind of come to the player, asteroid style, where you're just floating in a void and waves of things come at you. It's another possibility, but I like the idea of you kind of traversing space and actually making progress. So sort of leaning towards the second idea, where when the player goes to the outer bounds of the level, they start to get some kind of warning or pushback, and then it sort of hard enforces it eventually. Still thinking about it. I'm gonna need some kind of indicator to show the player what direction to go. I'm thinking about maybe each level having a place you're trying to get to, and sort of having like an arrow showing you that place, or a series of waypoints that you have to reach, so that it's always kind of pointing you in the direction that you need to go. And so that if you deviate off the path too far, you never make progress. So thinking about doing that, but I'm going to noodle on that in the back of my brain while I do kind of scene transitions and other stuff. So, and then I'm going to put an hour or two into like audio. Probably just grab a track with some background music loop, because I'm not going to make music for this, but I will do sound effects. So I'm just going to record little like pew pew or ding ding, or striking some objects. I may or may not do that on stream, since I'm going to be using the microphone and up and down out of my chair a lot. But I'm probably going to try to spend about 20 minutes recording all the sound effects, and then like a half hour editing them, and then like an hour putting them in the game. So about an hour or two into audio is my plan. An hour or two into game structure and level transitions, which I'm going to do right now. An hour or two into solving kind of that level boundary problem. And then the rest of the time, I'm hoping to spend just polishing and adding gameplay stuff. Some more ship parts, some more enemy types, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Every time I wear this sweatshirt, people ask me if I'm from Chicago. The answer is no. I got this sweatshirt in the Chicago airport because I was cold. And you don't throw out a good sweatshirt. No offense to Chicagoans. I just ain't one. Alright, let's do it. I'm going to kick off the timer. And now we're in countdown mode. Dawn of the final day. Cool, we going? Alright, let's do it. I'm going to add I'm going to add the simplest smooth looking scene transition that I can, which is just going to be a fade to black. Hanger couldn't be loaded. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's get this can be part of the main scene because this same transition can get reused for all the things. So, I'm gonna add a UI canvas. Make it full screen. Not bad, not bad, not bad. This will be fairly quick. Not really going to have load times in the game, so it should be easy peasy. I'm going to add an animation to this. Window, animation, create a clip. Fade to black transition. Going to do... Oops. Didn't mean to add an event there. Alright. Add property, that's what I'm looking for. Image, color. And I only really need the alpha. Remove everything but the alpha. And I'm going to start at 0. And I'm going to end at 1. Unity really needs to scale these timelines more intelligently because I'm always fighting with it to try to keep things in the bounds. Okay. This will be the same thing, except the alpha will start at 1 and go to 0. Nice. There's the fade in, there's the fade out. Makes sense. Let's look at this. Alright, so we have these states. I'm going to add some, whoops, don't want to add a layer. Parameters. I'd like to add a trigger parameter. Fade out. want to transition to fade to black. Actually, I don't think I want... Let's see. We'll do is visible. We'll call it that. And here we'll do is visible true, we fade to black. Is visible false, we fade out. I want both of these to have see. Fixed exit time. Let's see. We have our UI image here. Turn off raycast target. Make it invisible. Let's see. Where did this menu go? Ah, this is getting destroyed when I load the level. That's why it's not happening. All right, so game controller. All right. Okay, cool. It's not behaving like I want, but that's okay. It's at least doing a thing. So we don't want this looping. Why does it loop by default? Loop. There it is. Don't loop. Don't loop. Don't loop. Got it. And then when we want it visible, turn this on, fade out, turn this on, fade back. Look at that. Beautiful. Fade in, fade out. Nice and smooth, except that it leaves the play button hanging because it's not rendering in the front. So I need to make that right in the foreground. So sort order. Does higher go in front or in back? Nice. Okay, cool. is all messy over here. All right. Oh god, the countdown timer is so much more stressful than the count up timer. All right, so now I want to make these transitions part of the flow between scenes here. So, where's my game controller script? What was it called? Game controller. All right. Let's make the transition game mode. So we want to wait for the current scene to finish exiting, or do we want to start the fade to black immediately? No. Thinking. So, in some cases, like when exiting the scene involves cleaning up objects, I want it to clean up the objects after the fade to black happens. But in other cases, yeah, no. I want the fade to black happen before the exit is called. We can make the exit scene method be the like object cleanup and all that stuff that we want hidden by the black fade, and anything that's like an exit animation that we want the player to see, we can just call that in the scene logic before calling transitions. So let's get a reference to the animator or animation controller. Animator controller. What's it called? Unity's animation elements are so confusingly named. There's animator, animation, animator controller, which isn't even named consistently when it's referenced in different places. So all these components with very similar names that work together in a way that is just pure. You just have to get used to it. Animator, I guess, is what I want to reference to. Transition animator. We want to set bool. All right, what's that? Is visible. We want to set that to true. And I think we want this to tell the game controller when it's done transitioning, so. Yeah, let's do it. So when this completes right at the end, let's add an event. Wow, so many. This is every method of every class associated with this object. Why you do it like this, Unity? Alright. So we want this to call Is there no way to search this or sort this? Not really. Alright. I don't even know how to give this a reference to something that's on a different... Okay. I'm making a script to manage this transition. There might be a clean way to do this with the built-in components, but... I'm going to call it transition controller. Going to stick it right here. Let's do a Unity event. Actually. Clog of Doom, Subtony. I need a Unity event example. No matter how many times I do these, I have to keep Googling examples to remember how they're set up. Give me one, give me one, give me one. Where's the... Just trying to find a simple Unity event example of how they were set up. If anything's listening, invoke the event. Fade out complete. attach this here. Transition handler. Oh, I already have one. Let's not do two of those. And then our animator. Should have an event here. This is insane. There we go. There has to be a way to search this list. Function selected, fade to transparent transition. So this is on fade out complete. Come on. Trigger fade out complete. Okay, that's good. And on the other animation, fade to black. This one is trigger fade out complete. And this one is going to be trigger fade in complete. Well, you can search it, so that's something. These might be confusingly named because fade in means not fade in the black overlay, but fade in the game by fading out the black overlay. So these are going to be confusingly named. I need to put some comments. All right. So there's the transition controller. And I want the handler class I made. Fade in complete, fade out complete. Game controller. And I need some methods here to call when we're done fading in and out. So we're gonna say finish fading in, fade back into the game, fade out to black screen. All right. This is pure excitement here. Fade in complete, game controller, finish fading in, game controller, finish fading out. Don't love these names, but whatever. Moving on. Call this transition active. And I will say we finish fading in. I already have something called is transition. Hold on. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to sets black overlay visible. So we start transitioning. And then we want to set is transitioning to false when we're done fading out. So now we're faded to black. And then we're going to exit the current game mode, enter new game mode, and then we want to call fade back to visible. And then we want to load the new scene. We want to call, we want to do is transitioning true again. Trying to think, do we want to call enter on the new game mode before or after the black fade? I think we could just do it simultaneously for now, so things will start loading and happening as it's fading. It's only like a half-second transition, so it's fine if some motion is happening when it fades in. I think I'm good with that. All right, let's try this. Run the game. Fade in. Game controller's reference has not been assigned. Ah. Transition animator of game controller. Okay. Transition animator. Fade in. Fade out. Fade in. Well, that was not right. Hold on. We had two transitions here. One transition to the main scene. What was that? Okay. What happened here? So we're fading out when we start and then fading in. What if I start faded out? Black screen. Okay, what's happening here? It's like fading. It's like fading to black initially. And so it's starting visible, fading out to enter the first scene. So I think I need to not do that black fade on the initial game mode. Because we don't want to fade to black right at the beginning. We want to fade to black on all subsequent scene transitions. I'm going to AFK 1 sec. Run to the restroom and think about this. Okay, I think we just need a default state that where the value is just static. Where the overlay is just at a fixed value. Yeah, I think we need to create a default state where the background is just black. So let's do that. To create a new clip. Do I need to create a clip? Let me think. No. I think what I want to do is, instead of using this bool, I want to do a trigger. Called fade out and fade in. Fade out. Thinking. Make a trigger here called fade out, which goes to that state, and then from there it will just bounce back and forth between these two. This transition should be fade out. No. Fade in. Ugh, my brain. All right. I need to make a transition to that. Remove this one. Never mind. I had it right before. All right, we're going to start in a default state where the overlay is invisible. I'm going to have a fade out call that goes to that. Fade out goes to that. Fade in goes to this. We're going to get rid of that is visible parameter. Set trigger fade out. Set trigger fade in. Okay, so when we start the game, that overlay should be invisible and it should just start. Yeah. And now what we can do is when we load the initial scene, don't do the fade out. Just do it for all subsequent ones. So when we do the game controller here, a new method called start initial game mode that doesn't do all the transitioning stuff. We don't need to exit current game mode because there won't be one. Don't need to worry about transitioning. Just doing scene manager.load scene. We're just doing this part. Kick off a coroutine for this. All it should do is load the scene. Wait for it to be loaded. Find the game mode thing and start its logic. So this should no longer do the fade. Yeah, there we go. Start up right here on the menu, click play, fade out, fade in. Beautiful. So good. All right. Got scene transitions working. What are these errors? Okay. That's a hanger mode error, so we can fix that now. All right. So when we run the game, click our play button. Boop. Fades out. Fades in. Beautiful. Zero duration on this. There's like a slight delay now. That should just start and then... Okay. Okay. Cool. Here's our parts. So hanger mode building is all working. Yeah, what was the error that was getting thrown on hanger mode? Enter. Enable shipbuilding. Needs a reference to the shipbuilder. That's fine. Hanger mode needs a reference to the shipbuilder. Put that there. Don't know what that object's there for. No errors. Okay. Build parts on our ship. All right. And then when we click launch, I want that to kick us into the gameplay scene. That is not. Okay. So the launch button. I think the launch button's doing nothing right now, and that's where I left off here. Hangar scene, UI, launch button, zero functionality. All right. So I want the launch button, UI canvas launch button to talk to the hanger mode script. On click. Okay, I don't have a script for this yet. our launch button, call that method. And that will kick us out to the gameplay scene. Okay. I want this to play the launch animation. I want to disable shipbuilding as soon as you click launch, and then play the launch animation, and then when the launch animation finishes playing, it will kick us out to the gameplay scene. I want to check if this is disabling building properly. Play. Launch. Okay, so when we disable building, there needs to be some cleanup on things. First of all, if you have a piece on your cursor, it destroys the piece, but we don't want that to play an explosion animation. And we do want it to turn these things off as well. So let's fix that stuff. So when the shipbuilder script gets disabled, we want it to end adding the current piece. I see. I already started to do this logic, but I did it wrong and didn't finish. So when this is disabled, if the current piece isn't null, destroy it, set it null, turn off the targeted build slot. What is end adding piece? This already turns off the build area, destroys the current piece. Is that all we're doing? Destroys the current piece. And turns off the build area. Okay, this should fix it. I already kind of had logic in here for this. It just needed to be hooked up. As far as making the pieces not blow up, I'm going to have to look at that in a second. Let's go to main. Run the game. Flying through space. Click play. Building a piece. Attach. Building a piece. Launch. Okay. We are getting an error with thrusters now. Ship controller's disabled and the thrusters are looking for it. All right. I'm actually going to remove this thruster script from the thrusters because it's no longer doing anything. This is the old script for the physics-based movement with the thrusters that would cause the ship to spin out all crazy. And it is no longer doing anything. Parts, thruster, and I'm going to remove this. Yeah, build piece is a separate thing. All right. Play. Thruster. Oh, thruster. Oh. It's just on forever. All right, cool. Launch. Ooh, don't want spacebar to navigate the launch button. That is interesting. I guess that's default behavior. Navigation. None. None or explicit? I don't know. I want it to only react when clicked on, not when you hit keys, so. Whoops. Hop back to the main scene. Play. Go to the hangar. Put the parts on there. Launch. Okay, it works on click, but it doesn't react to the key presses anymore, so that's good. All right. As far as these thrusters, I think I want the VFX script on the thrusters to default to off. So where's that logic? I see. I never added this script on. Okay. What did I tune this value to on the cockpit? I want it to be the same. Piece. Cockpit 35 is the speed of the animation. I want the thrusters to all match animation speed with each other. This is the rate at which the thrusters go in or out when they're turned on or off. That needs to look synced between everything. Oh, interesting. Need to turn off these part buttons and the launch. I think I need to turn off the whole UI when that gets clicked. So let's do that. Hangar mode. Turn off the whole HUD when you click launch, because I don't want them to be able to click more building buttons or interact with anything, and they shouldn't be able to click the launch button more than once either. We just want the whole UI to go away when they click launch, I think. So, main here. Flying through space, click play. Build parts, get a part on our mouse, click launch. Oh, never gave it a reference. This is how you waste time. Hangar mode. There we go. Play. Build a piece. Get a piece on the mouse, click launch. This didn't get destroyed, did it? Evidently not. So ship builder, end adding piece. Destroy it, null it. So why would this not be getting called? When we click launch, we turn off the HUD, we call disable shipbuilding, which just disables that script. That's all it does. So on disable, this is calling end adding piece. Current piece is not equal to null. Destroy it. Then set it null. I have a suspicion what's going wrong here, and it's a little annoying because I'm not sure how to fix it. I think maybe this script getting disabled stops the destroy call from executing. Destroying thruster. Yeah, so that thruster never gets destroyed. Destroy even if game object is inactive. How do we do this? Use the mono behavior on disable callback method to have the game object destroy itself when it gets disabled. Maybe I need to call how do I do this? Destroy immediate. Strongly recommend using destroy instead. I just want to see if this works. May not stick with it long term. Have a piece on the mouse, launch. No, did nothing. Oh, I bet I know. I'm destroying the piece component, not the game object itself. So it's leaving behind the parts of it that are just the visual parts. I'm just destroying the logic, but I'm not destroying the actual object. So that's why we've got rogue pieces floating behind. I think that's what's going on. Piece, boop, launch. There we go. Oh wait, I didn't have a piece on the mouse. I'm not actually testing the thing I'm testing. Ay, my brain. This is that crunch time brain. Okay, cool. So it's destroying the object now. The other thing I want to do is make it so that this is something that's needed to fix.